I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Thank you all. Thank you, Reverend. Thank you all so much for coming together and gathering today, because this is what organizing looks like.
That's right.
This is what building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like. It's when we choose to show up and occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most, talking about our future. You know, Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat. There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work. There is nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified about it.
Me llamo Julián Castro y estoy postulando por presidente de los Estados Unidos. The very fact that I can say that tonight shows the progress that we have made in this country.
Necesitamos incluir cada persona en el éxito de esta economía. Pero si queremos hacer eso, necesitamos incluir cada persona en nuestra democracia. Cada votante necesitamos la representación y cada voz necesitamos escuchar.
Pues la situación ahora es inaceptable. Este presidente ha atacado, ha demonizado a los inmigrantes. Es inaceptable y voy a cambiar este.
The reason that they're separating these little children from their families is that they're using Section 1325 of that act, which criminalizes coming across the border, to incarcerate the parents and then separate them. Some of us on this stage have called to end that section, to terminate it. Some, like Congressman O'Rourke, have not. And I want to challenge all of the candidates to do that. I just think it's a mistake, Bethel. I think it's a mistake. And I think that if you truly want to change the system, then we got to repeal that section. If not, then it might as well be the same policy.
Let me respond to this very briefly. Actually, as a member of Congress, I helped to introduce legislation that would ensure that we don't criminalize those who are seeking asylum and refuge in this country. If you're fleeing desperation, then I want to make sure that you're treated with respect.
I'm still talking about everybody else.
But you're looking at just one small part of this. I'm talking about a comprehensive rewrite of our immigration laws.
That's not true. My grandmother came here when she was 7 years old as an immigrant from Mexico. And just 2 generations later, one of her grandsons is serving in the United States Congress, and the other one is running for president of the United States. On January 20th, 2021, we'll say adios to Donald Trump.
It was striking that we did see 3 candidates come out and spoke Spanish, or at least some Spanish. However, it seemed forced to me. I mean, I do agree with Ron. I think it was forced on all of them. They were trying to make a connection. Again, this is a manufactured moment, okay?
How can you not be forced when you have 10 people on the stage and you've got a minute to prepare? You know what I mean? In a way, I mean, that's what we're set up where we have so many candidates.
Right, but there's one thing to have an organic moment where it's on the fly and you can see it, or it's canned, and all of this stuff was canned. Cory Booker looked down on his piece of paper as he was saying it. I mean, clearly they were planning for this, as was Beto.
It was canned, and it was kind of forced to put it in. But it is indicative of a real difference that is going to matter as over the next year and a half, which is that you have a Democratic Party that is really putting a lot of chips on embracing the changing America, and you have a president in Donald Trump who is defining the Republican Party in a whole series of ways in hostility to the ways that America is changing, who proposed the largest cuts in legal immigration since the 1920s and everything else we are seeing in terms of the hardline policies at the border. So, I mean, it was kind of artificial and so forth, but it is indicative of something real in the way the parties are realigning around the issue of how America is changing itself in the 21st century. And it's something that's going to be a very important part of the general election.